Another day, another positive step for the Red Sox towards the postseason. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbin. We're officially a playoff tracker here, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm having a ton of fun doing it. I hope you guys are having a ton of fun watching it because last night, the Boston Red Sox won big in Toronto. Our ace, Garrett Crochet, took the mound and did exactly what you'd expect him to do. He went 8 innings, allowed just 3 hits, did not walk a single batter, did not give up a single run, and struck out 6. Can we just take a moment and appreciate Garrett Crochet's first season in a Red Sox uniform? It truly was unbelievably fantastic. I mean, the dude led all of Major League Baseball in innings this year at 205 and a third innings. He's leading the league in strikeouts right now at 255, and he's leading the AL in strikeouts per 9 at 11.2, all while rocking a 2.59 ERA, a 289 FIP, and a 1.028 WHIP. Honestly, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how the Cy Young ends up shaking out. I still think Tariq Skubal is the overwhelming favorite, but you could make a case about Garrett Crochet for sure, and it wasn't just Crochet who dominated the Blue Jays last night. The rest of the offense actually did as well, right? They got to Max Scherzer early, and then Masataka Yoshida coming out of nowhere, rising from the dead, and spanking the Toronto Blue Jays was not something I had on my bingo card. This dude had a home run and a double last night, and over his last 5 games, Masataka Yoshida is hitting .391 with a 1.069 OPS with 3 doubles and that home run. And to be honest with you, at this point in the season, it's not so much about what you've done for this Red Sox team, it's what you can do over these next 4 games. And for the first time all year, I could say I'm pretty confident in Masataka Yoshida's at-bats over these last 4 games, which is something I never thought I was going to say. But he wasn't the only one with a big moment last night. The other one was Carlos Narvaez, who had a 3-run home run in this game. He had a big hit yesterday. This is another guy who's been ice cold lately, putting it together down the stretch here, which is fantastic. And like Crochet, I think it's again another guy you sit here and you look at. I think we're going to look back on at the end of the season and say, man, what a rookie campaign it was for Carlos Narvaez. The bat was up and down. The defense was solid for most of the year, right? You had some catcher's interferences in there. You had some pass balls in there. But for the most part, he was unbelievably impressive in that catching position. All of a sudden, the future of Red Sox catching kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? A ton of fun to watch Carlos Narvaez this season. Really impressed with what he did. And overall, that was a really, really big win for the Boston Red Sox because it changed a lot in their playoff picture. But before we get to that, a quick word from today's sponsor. The weather is getting colder, the leaves are starting to change here, and for baseball fans, that means stressful games are coming, right? But for sports fans in general, it's a fantastic time of year. The football season is back, and the next great touchdown is coming. Now you can bet on it. That's why for the entire month of September, we are partnering with the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now on DraftKings, new users bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets on top of getting $200 off YouTube and YouTube TV's Sunday NFL ticket. That is one heck of an offer, and to take advantage of this offer, go head over to DraftKings.com/RedSeat or use code REDSEAT to sign up today. With their user-friendly app, you can take your Sundays to the next level. Thank you very much to DraftKings for sponsoring this episode. Please don't forget to gamble responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Let's get back to the video. Let's start by talking about where they actually stand currently in this playoff picture, because honestly, not much has changed a whole lot. You're still in the exact same spot you were in before yesterday's game. You're holding the second wildcard spot. You're still 3 games behind the top wildcard spot, but that's kind of where things have started to change a little bit. Because of directly what the Red Sox have been doing to the Blue Jays over these last 2 days, New York Yankees have now tied them for the top of the division. Now, right now, hypothetically, if the season were to end today, the Boston Red Sox would still face the New York Yankees as the top wildcard spot because the Yankees have not performed very well against the Blue Jays this year. They are just 5-8 on the season. But the Blue Jays have one more game against us, and then they go to Tampa Bay. Now, they've actually not played Tampa Bay pretty well this year, and the New York Yankees are facing the Baltimore Orioles, who are not a very great baseball team. Playing a little bit better lately, but not very good, especially against the New York Yankees this season. There's a very real possibility that all of a sudden we've gone from this sort of imagination of we hope the Red Sox are going to get in the postseason. The most realistic scenario is that they're going to face the Yankees in the wild card round 2. I'm going to be honest with you, I think the most realistic scenario right now is that they end up going back to Toronto pretty quickly here and facing the Blue Jays in the first round of the wild card, which I got to be honest with you, I don't know which one I'd prefer. If you're a Red Sox fan, which team do you want them going to? Is it the Bronx, where the Red Sox have played the Yankees really well, but overall the Yankees are a much hotter baseball team and have a much better pitching staff? Or would you rather go to Toronto, who's been much better than you all season long, but kind of falling apart here at the seams over the last stretch of the season with a formidable offense, but a not super great pitching staff? I think honestly, the preference there has to be the Red Sox going and facing the Toronto Blue Jays, but it would be so goddamn electric for the Red Sox to have to head into New York and face the Yankees in a series, right? That would be just an unbelievably exciting wild card matchup. So I'm low-key kind of hoping for the Yankees to fall apart here, but I do kind of, if we're just talking in terms of a sense of what's the easier path for the Red Sox, think it might be the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't know. I'm pretty torn on this. Let me know in the comment section down below. But you're still 3 games back of that, still looking like there's pretty much no possibility of you taking over that top wild card spot. The second pretty big impact of yesterday's sort of all-around play from MLB was that the Cleveland Guardians beat the Detroit Tigers. This now officially puts them 1 game ahead of the Tigers. Yesterday, when we were talking about it, they were tied. Today, the Detroit Tigers are now firmly in this wild card race, and it officially confirms that no matter what happens today, this last series is going to be an absolute dogfight for this Red Sox team. Originally, coming into this series, I was actually rooting for the Tigers to figure themselves out because the Red Sox had this tiebreaker against the Guardians, right? If the Tigers were able to take care of business against the Guardians, all the Red Sox had to do was be as good as the Guardians the rest of the way, and they would have ended up in that second wild card spot. Now things have changed a little bit. The Guardians take the first 2 games of this series. At this point, I think you're rooting for the Guardians to finish out the sweep, because if they could finish out the sweep, no matter what happens today with the Red Sox are going to be coming in to this Detroit Tigers series with a 2-game lead. If that ends up happening, the only way the Detroit Tigers, or really the Cleveland Guardians for that matter, can overtake the Red Sox for this second wild card spot would be if the Detroit Tigers swept. And now obviously that's still on the table, but it really makes the odds a little bit easier for the Red Sox, right? All they have to do is win one of these games against the Detroit Tigers, doesn't matter which one it is, and you're going to end up in that second wild card spot, and that's simply the only thing that we can root for right now. Worst case scenario here is that the Red Sox end up losing today and the Detroit Tigers end up winning today, because if that happens, then you're coming into this final series with a 1-game lead. And if that's the case, all the Detroit Tigers would have to do is win this series against you. Even if you take one of these games, they still end up being tied with you in the standings, and like we've talked about 1,000 times, the Red Sox do not have the tiebreaker against the Detroit Tigers, so they would automatically end up in that second wild card spot. Worst case scenario is that the Detroit Tigers sweep you, and now you're comfortably in the third wild card spot. And on top of that, you're going to have to face the Cleveland Guardians, who are, again, the hottest team in baseball and the team of destiny right now. So really what we need to be looking at here, and the impact that this had on the Red Sox, is we need to be rooting for 2 things today. We either need to be rooting for the Red Sox to win, which we're going to do regardless of the situation, obviously, or we need to root for the Detroit Tigers to lose. If one of those 2 things happen, you're in a pretty decent spot coming into the final series of the season. Now, best case scenario here is that the Red Sox win today and the Detroit Tigers lose today. Then the Detroit Tigers have to sweep you in order to get into the postseason as that second wild card spot, which makes things incredibly difficult for this Tigers team. So basically, what we're rooting for today is obviously the Red Sox winning, but even if they don't win, we are rooting for the Detroit Tigers to lose. And that's going to be incredibly interesting because they have not been playing very good baseball lately. But these 2 things, while they do impact the Red Sox quite a bit, is not the biggest change that happened last night. And in fact, the biggest change is actually the Red Sox are very close to securing their first postseason run. Honestly, I probably should have said since 2021 at the end of that sentence. I don't know why I made it sound like the Red Sox have never been in the playoffs before, but you guys catch my drift, because the biggest thing to happen to the Red Sox postseason-wise was that they won and the Houston Astros lost yet again. This officially puts the Houston Astros 3 games behind the Boston Red Sox, 4 games behind them, because the Red Sox have that tiebreaker, right? 3 games right now would tie the Boston Red Sox. The Astros would have to win 4 games to officially knock the Red Sox out of the postseason, which means all of a sudden the Red Sox magic number that we talked about yesterday being 3 drops all the way down to 1. In order for the Red Sox at this point in the year, thanks to the Astros being buns, to not make the postseason here, they would have to lose every single game from here on out, which for the love of God, Red Sox, do not do that. But even if they do lose every single game between now and the end of the season, the Houston Astros have to be perfect. In fact, by the time you're watching this video, the Boston Red Sox could have already potentially clinched a postseason spot. If the Astros lose any single one of their games going forward throughout the entire rest of the season here, the Red Sox make the playoffs, and that is huge. Some may say that is absolutely massive, right? That is exactly what we've been hoping for from this Red Sox team. Put yourselves in a position where you are in full control of your destiny, right? You're not relying on other teams to lose. All you're doing is relying on yourself to win. The Astros losing and the Red Sox winning officially puts their postseason odds at 99.5%. The Red Sox have a 0.5% chance of not making the postseason at this point. That is a 5% jump from the beginning of this series and a 10% jump from where they were just a few days ago. To be totally honest with you, this is exactly what we've been waiting for the Boston Red Sox. So what is the playoff picture looking at like right now? What are the most likely scenarios? Well, according to multiple different places, the most likely scenario is still that the Boston Red Sox end up in this second wildcard spot, and it's still that the New York Yankees are going to be the team that they're facing in the first wildcard round. Now, to be honest with you, I don't totally agree with that. Again, we talked about this, right? It feels more likely that the Red Sox are going to end up facing the Blue Jays than it is that they're going to face the New York Yankees. But the good news in all of this right now is that we don't have to worry so much about the Red Sox not getting in. We have to worry about where they are once they get into the dance, right? And I think that's the biggest takeaway here, is that we are no longer focusing on, hey, can the Red Sox get into the postseason at all? I mean, a week ago, we were having that conversation, right? Because of the way they played against Tampa and against the Toronto Blue Jays, even regardless of whether or not they win tonight, which obviously you need them to win tonight, you want them to win tonight, but regardless, you're still in a position where you've put the Houston Astros firmly up against a wall, right? All they need to do is lose one singular game between now and the end of the season, and you're in the postseason, right? You've done yourself a favor last night, and you've done yourself a favor over these last few games. We talked about this yesterday, and we're going to talk about it again probably the rest of the season here, but the big thing with the Red Sox, and the thing that I think I love the most about where the Red Sox are at right now, is that their destiny is fully in control of themselves. Right, all they have to do is win one singular game here between now and the end of the season, and that's it. They make the postseason for the first time since 2021. That's exactly what you've been trying to accomplish this entire year. Put yourself in a position where you control your own destiny. Stop relying on other teams winning or other teams losing, and just simply focus on what you do in those 9 innings every single day. And now we're at that point. If you aren't excited yet, if the hair on the back of your neck isn't tingling a little bit, if you aren't getting goosebumps thinking about the fact that the Red Sox are 1 win away or a Houston Astros loss away from the postseason, I don't know what to tell you, man, because this is unbelievably exciting times if you're a Red Sox fan. So let me know in the comment section down below, what are you feeling right now? How confident are you in the Boston Red Sox at this point in time? What do you think this is going to end up looking like when it's all said and done? And how comfortable are you in this second wildcard spot? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you tomorrow for another playoff update, but as always, in the red seats.